This video contains a quick example about how to use your TI-34 calculator to find some statistical values. So to start, if you press the data key, you're entered into like a list mode, and you see three lists here: list 1, list 2, and list 3. I'm going to go ahead and type in the data that I have from my Google Sheets into this first list. So if I just type in the number and press enter, it inputs that data into the first cell, and then just keep going, pressing enter after each piece of data. So at that point, list 1 is currently highlighting the 6th piece of data. That's what the 6 right here says. If I scroll back up and I highlight the 8, this notation tells me that the 5th piece of data in list 1 is an 8. So there's 5 total pieces of data here. Next, what I want to do is press second data. Notice that above the data key it says stat. And what we're doing is calculating one variable statistics. So I'm going to press enter. It will ask me, where is my data? It's in list 1. This particular data did not present itself as a frequency table, so I'm just going to leave the frequency at 1. And then I scroll down until I'm highlighting calc, and I press enter. So at this point I have a lot of information here on my screen. The first one is the number of data that's in list 1. There's 5 pieces of data. This next one is a shorthand notation or mathematical notation for mean, which is also average. We call it sometimes X bar. This says that the mean is 3.4. This next one is the mathematical calculator notation for standard deviation of a sample, which is what we're being asked to do for our math class. So it's S sub X, and this is the standard deviation, 2.7 approximately. The next one is the population's standard deviation. For our course in Math 110, we don't do this particular standard deviation, so you will not use this sigma X. The next statistic that we're given is the sum of all the X values. Again, I mean, we could use that as part of another formula, but that's really not our focus in our course. This one is the sum of all the values squared. So again, we don't really use that one in our course either. So scrolling back up, the main two that you will use are these two, the mean and the standard deviation, written as S sub X. So now I'm going to change the problem just a little bit, and let's consider that we have not only the data values, but we also have their frequency. And so I didn't take the time to label these two. I guess I really should label them, so let me do that real quick. We'll say that this is our data, X, and this is our frequency of X. So coming back to my calculator, I'm going to go back to data. And in list 2, notice I just press the right arrow to get to list 2. Let me type in the corresponding frequencies for each piece of data. Now when I go to second data, that's the stat menu, I'm still going to do 1var stats, so press enter. My data itself is in list 1, that has not changed, but the frequency is now in list 2 in my calculator. So I just scrolled over there till it was flashing. I pressed enter, kind of like a toggle, and then press enter to calculate. And now this is the mean and standard deviation of the example where we're given a frequency table instead of just the data itself.